Hey guys, how's it going? Back with today's video. As you can see from the title of the video, today is yet another rest day. However, today I took some advice and I was advised to take this rest day, especially because since I am feeling a bit kind of under the weather lately, I was told that if I do take a rest day, a proper rest day with good food and proper rest, that I will be able to recover and feel much better within the next couple of days. So without further ado, let's actually try to make a decent video out of today. I've already done a book review and I really want to do another one, especially because I've read a lot of physical books. However, I've read a lot of books on my phone as well. And I've also mentioned that there's this feature on the iOS software which allows your phone to basically read the content of the screen, and by means of doing that you can turn your ebooks into audiobooks. So I'll also share how you can do that. But without further ado, let's get started on the books I've read on my phone. So the first book I've actually finished on my phone is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Now, where do I start with this book? I think it's one of the realest books that you can read about an individual that was completely broken and how he was able to break through that mental barrier of negativity. I mean, David Goggins was huge. I mean, he was a really big guy. Like, I wouldn't say he was fat because I think he was always active. However, he's had a really rough childhood. His dad wasn't the best father figures. His mother was going through jobs and they were homeless at a point. And a lot of stories, and I don't want to misquote anything, but this book really helped me understand that we don't have it tough, and even if we do, we are able to overcome. In this book, David Goggins describes one of his races. I mean, he describes a lot of things. I mean, when he was like 25 or 23 years old, he was this fat dude that used to work at a company that used to exterminate cockroaches. And I don't talk bad about any job. I mean, you need every job in this world, but when you realize that you can be better than what you're currently doing, that's when you tell yourself, like, no, I gotta change. So one day he was sitting after his job in his sofa in his apartment, and he saw this ad for the Marine, the Marine or the Army, something like that, a specific branch. And he called them, and he was like, yeah, I'm interested, I want to join. And the recruiter was like, how much do you weigh? And he was like, I don't know how much it is in kilos. I think it was 300 pounds. Yeah, I mean, he was 140 kilos, so 300 pounds. And the guy was like, nah, you're too big. I mean, you can't join the Marine or the Army. And like, he changed in 3 months or a couple of months. He completely dropped the weight. He got into a really decent shape, and his story is incredibly inspiring. And if you read this book, you will definitely change your perspective on what is it that you consider hard. Yeah, what an amazing book. He actually released another book called Never Finished. I still haven't read it, but I intend on reading it. Really inspiring book, and as an individual, I follow David Goggins, and he's helped me in my fitness journey, and he's taught me a lot about how to behave, how to think, how to overcome adversity, and how to think about overcoming adversity. But because most of the time it's all about a mindset, you know. If you see that something's tough and you tell yourself, it's tough, you know, it's the reality, it's tough, I shouldn't mess with it, or I should just accept it. But David Goggins teaches you that no, just because it's tough, you know that it's tough, and you have to overcome that toughness to reach a higher state, to reach a better version of yourself. So you gotta push through it. It's all in the mind, you know, it's all in the mind. And he had some really bad days. I mean, he did these Ironman ultra marathon races where he completely messed up his legs and knees, and he still finished the races. And even though he was last in a couple of races, I mean, it taught him a lot. And the fact that he finished those races that he participated in gave him a really good mental boost. And mind you, he's actually he has a birth condition with his heart, and he's also got like knee problems and feet problems. It's one of those books you want to read again and again, and you can definitely learn every single time. Let's move on to the next book. I mean, from my last video and this current video, you can kind of understand that I'm not a big fan of science fiction books, but this next book is not science fiction. It's kind of science fiction, or like, it's not a book about humans, but it kind of portrays human behaviors and real things that happened in this world. This book is called Animal Farm by George Orwell. First of all, this author is extremely smart. I mean, he's written another book called 1984, which I haven't read yet. But this Animal Farm is basically a portrayal of communist societies where the government wants to control the entire population, and how they use the population to benefit only themselves and not help the population at large. So Animal Farm, not to give you any spoilers, but I mean, it's already kind of spoiler, but it basically depicts an animal farm where there's a lot of animals, yeah, and basically each animal has a specific character. Like, there's a horse, there's pigs, there's chickens, there's sheep, and each of those animals have a specific role in that farm's society. And basically what happens is that somehow the farm animals are able to kick out the owners of the farm, and they start to run the farm, and from that everybody's starting to divide each and everybody's roles. And the way George Orwell writes this book is just amazing. I mean, it's one of those books you have to read to really understand. But as I said in the beginning, it's like about communism and stuff like that. And towards the end, like, you know, I don't want to spoil it. Just go read the book. Just by the front cover, you can just see what you're about, or what you might be expecting from this book. A very good book, especially if you're not a really big fan of science fiction, but you want to read a book that's like, from which you can learn, and which is a bit like fiction, which is based on real life events. What's next? I've read a book. It's called Bigger, Leaner, Stronger: The Simple Science of Building the Ultimate Male Body by Michael Matthews. This book, it talks a lot about diet and calories and how to have a healthy diet. It doesn't really necessarily talk about how you should do all those things. It just informs you about the things that you need to do without telling you how to do it. So it's a book that I finished. It was like 120 pages or something, so not the greatest book I'll recommend. Next book was The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Now, this book I really wanted to read because I kind of want to start investing, and I want to understand how human beings think about money, because I have my thoughts about money. I mean, I'm not a big fan of saving your money. If I see that I need to spend my money in order to improve myself mentally and physically, I'll spend the money. I won't save it. So I really wanted to read this book and see what it is about, but I don't know, it didn't fulfill what I really wanted to learn. But if you want to know an overview or a bit of the psychology behind the human mind and how we think about money, could be a nice book. But I didn't really learn much in the realm of investing and all that. But I still recommend it to people that want to know more about the psychology of money and how we think about it. Now, the next book is a bit controversial. It's called The Way of Men by Jack Donovan. This book my friend actually recommended to me, and the name of the book kind of sparks some interest, because any guy who thinks that they have a role in this society, and as a man how they should behave, and what goals they should have, or how they should behave in this modernistic society. I think that's a book for those type of guys. And The Way of Man, the controversial thing I was gonna say is that that friend of mine that recommended me this book wanted to read this book and write a summary for a course, an English course that we had back when we used to study in university. So he wanted to read this book and write a summary on this book, basically. But when he presented this book to his teacher, which is a lady, an old lady, she was a pretty good teacher, but she said that no, this book is misogynistic. Now, I've read this book, and he actually told me about this story that happened with him before he recommended me this book. So he told me the story, and then he told me about this book, and I kind of got intrigued into reading this book, like, what's up with this book? Why does she think it's misogynistic? But after reading this book, I only saw that this book gives you advice. Not necessarily advice. It gives you advice, and it also portrays the way the brain of men are wired. It basically portrays and tells you about the psychology of men and how our brains are wired in a certain way compared to women, from prehistoric times even, and how throughout history men have always had the responsibility to do most of the things that are important. I'm not saying that women haven't done anything important, they have. However, without men and their dedication and their passion to thrive, none of it would have happened. And the hunters and gatherers were always men, and caretakers were always women. They always took care, and they always cooked, and they've always done things to help men after a hard day of hunting and gathering. This book is nothing close to being misogynistic. It just portrays a reality of men, and I don't know why that teacher told him that, which is very weird. At the end of the day, he wasn't able to write the summary on this book, but that's another story. But I recommend this book to guys that wanna dig deeper into why they might feel a certain way, why they feel that they have the responsibility on themselves, and why they should be strong and mindful and why they should take care of their family, and why they are the ones responsible for others, you know. So yeah, it's a very good book, and yeah, I think you'll be able to learn a lot. And I guess that is it for all the books that I've read. There is a bunch of books that I'm actually currently reading on this app. Like I'm currently reading How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which is like a really amazing book that a lot of people recommend. I'm reading Think Fast and Slow. I'm reading The 4-Hour Work Week, and I say that I'm reading, but I started reading these books, but I haven't been able to finish because I don't want to read 10 books at the same time. You know, I want to read one book at a time. But these are some books that I've started reading but couldn't finish. I also started reading Why We Sleep. I think I talked about this book in one of my videos already, which is a really great book. I've actually finished... I haven't finished. I'm really close on finishing Dopamine Detox by Thibaut Maurice. It's a good book as well. But yeah, I mean, reading books on your phone is extremely useful. Let me teach you how you can turn your ebook into an audiobook on iOS devices. First, go to Settings, then click on Accessibility, then click on Spoken Content and turn on Speak Selection and Speak Screen. If you go down in the same menu, you'll see Voices, and there you'll be able to select which voice you want the reader to have. Then simply go to your desired ebook that you're currently reading. Then go to the audiobook you're currently reading and swipe down on the screen like this.
About the author. David Goggins is a retired Navy SEAL and the only member of the U.S. Armed Forces ever to complete SEAL training, U.S. Army Ranger School, and Air Force Tactical Air Controller.
And just like that, you turned your ebook into an audiobook. Very handy tip, and some people say that it sounds robotic, but you kind of get used to it, which I did, and I was able to finish so many books so fast. You can basically listen to it and read it, which allows you to remember the content of the book much better. But yeah, guys, today was it. Day 22. We're almost done. 8 more days. I hope that I'll be feeling better tomorrow and that I'll be able to work out. I really want to push myself, and yeah, this journey has been really nice so far. I don't want to miss any more days of working out. Even if I do take a rest day in the future, I hope that it won't be for my sickness. But yeah, guys, it was nice to talk about the books I've read. But yeah, as always, stay sharp, stay active. Peace.